Welcome to the Movie-ish podcast. I'm Chelsea. I'm back from a long hiatus. I've just been so busy because I started the podcast at the beginning of the school year where things weren't as bogged down, but as soon as I hit my first ever college midterm season, I was like, oh, yikes. And I've unfortunately taken a lot of time off of the project, but now I'm back. I'm approaching finals season. That's how long it's been. It's been a long time. And I have a little pocket in my day today to talk about some cool things with you. So again, welcome to the Movie-ish podcast. I'm your host, Chelsea, and every week I have, I will take you through a movie or show that kept me up in quarantine using my questionable yet sincere analysis. So as I said, I'm back from hiatus, and today we're actually covering a very interesting topic. So I intended to make this a bonus episode of sorts, but the more that I think about it, I just have so much to say on today's topic. And when I wrote the script for this episode, it was really long. So I had a lot of, hot takes. And the subject is Korean hip-hop music videos, because those are things that I'm super passionate about. I really love music videos in general because I kind of think that they're like mini movies in themselves, and they can tell a story through music as well as visuals. Like, the pairing is fantastic, but I do, have to say that whenever I watch music videos, the song doesn't catch on to me as quickly. I have to listen to the song alone, through audio, for me to fully appreciate it. For example, I listened to Wonho's new song Lose, and I watched the music video for it. And the song, I thought at the time, was okay. But then I listened to the song again, audio only, and it was it went so hard. It was giving me, future nostalgia vibes. I really loved it. So there's this weird disconnect I have with music videos, but that's what makes them all the more fascinating. So I'm going to be talking about 3 videos today. Used To, by Wonjae, Twist the Plot, by J Park, Ximya, and DJ Wegun, and Netat by BLOO and Nafla. So these 3 videos, I'll be doing sort of a deep dive, and I guess there will be spoilers, because I will be describing in as much detail as I can the visual style of the music videos. I will also be editing in footage, so if you're listening through audio, it might help a lot if you watch the version on YouTube, but if not, I will be as descriptive as possible. So I really liked the first video we're going to talk about, Used To, by Wonjae. And I guess for a bit of backstory on him specifically, there is a Korean hip-hop competition show called Show Me the Money, which comes around the same time every year, and it's just the best part of the year for me because I get to watch a bunch of rappers battle it out. And it's sort of like The Voice, where you have 4 groups of judges, so it's usually a pair of people, one who's a producer and one who's a rapper. And so there are 4 teams that, are divided, what the heck? Divide the contestants up. And the cool thing about Show Me the Money is, unlike The Voice, the contestants actually prepare new lyrics for every challenge of the competition, which means it's extremely stressful, but you also get to see who kind of makes it out on top. I guess in The Voice you could, in theory, perform your own original song, but I don't know, that's just the thing I love about Show Me the Money. And the cool thing about it is that the songs they make on the show actually release, on music charts. So it's really cool because every year I come out with learning about some really cool new artists and really cool new songs as well that I can repeat in an endless loop. So Wonjae was a contestant in season 6, which by far is the best season, to me anyway. That's what I've recommended to people that are interested in the show. And he was a total newcomer. But what made him really unique is, I guess there are some spoilers here for the season. I'm not going to reveal too much how he did in the show or whatever, but he was one of the first contestants that I saw who spoke out about his sort of journey with depression and mental health. And I thought that was super uncommon because even or at least with Korean television, to my knowledge and to what I've seen, there isn't a lot of discussion about mental health. And I really thought it was cool that not cool, but I thought it was interesting that a lot of his lyrics, which involved prescription like drugs for depression. At first I thought it was just like, oh, he just does this, but there was a deeper meaning behind it. And as you can see, I'm pushing my glasses up a lot. Please ignore that. They are not fixed. And so he was one of like the coolest contestants to come on the show. He did very well, and he signed with J Park's label AOMG. So a lot of his music is very kind of low key. It's a little bit more toned down, and I think that's really awesome. So Used To is, it was interesting because of the symbolism of the video. When you're watching it, the first like half of it is a constant zoom into this picture. And this picture is a bunch of people dressed in white standing on bleachers, and Wonjae is dressed in black in the middle. So it's this constant zoom inwards. And the whole song is basically about, him building up his career and how he deals with the hate in the music industry for himself. I kind of thought that, the outward people, because he's like this guy standing in the center, and then there's like people dressed in white around him, kind of represent, I guess like the general society. I don't like using the word society because it's been memed so many times. The first thing I thought of was like sheep, how like people follow trends or follow opinions or make opinions based on this collective consensus rather than trying to focus on the subject and who the subject is, what the subject has gone through, such as, Wonjae, of course. It's sort of interesting to see his growth ever since Show Me the Money, because in Show Me the Money 6, he seemed like very timid and sort of isolated from everybody else. So it's kind of interesting to see him thrust into this position in the music video where he's suddenly the center of attention, and how damaging that could be, and how he's isolated as the black sheep, I guess, or the person who does things differently. So Used To, could refer to, oh, I had this old life, but now I'm being scrutinized, or I'm still the same person. I'm put at the center of attention, but like I haven't changed and I'm not a different person. So as you zoom into his face, the camera begins to zoom a little bit more. It gets kind of creepy, it gets kind of weird, and this is where the music video really kicks off. They really said cinematography here. His face like begins to decay, right? So he's dressed in black, his face is decaying, and in a snap, there's like this transition where he switches to wearing this really fluffy cloud mask, which looks like it's made out of, cotton balls or wool or something, and he's in this grassy field with a super blue sky. So if the sheep metaphor is correct here, I would hope that he didn't like imply that, oh, okay, I skinned the sheep for this mask. That would be super weird. Actually, that's not even in my script right now. I'm just assuming that. That's so crazy. But it sort of, I guess, makes me think about like self-consciousness. Like, oh, I'm suddenly being perceived by the public. I'm just going to decay now and wear a mask that the public is okay with, or that is made out of the public opinion, made out of sheep's wool, the public opinion, right? So, trying to kind of shield yourself and become a more tame person, because the song also shifts here. It becomes a little more light and airy, and I guess a little more, listener friendly. So that sudden shift could mean a lot of things, like maybe trying to, adhere to certain standards for a way of listening to music that are a little more tame, or talking about things that are less crazy. Not crazy, but I guess less like niche or obscure to your personality or your situation. It also made me think of The Masked Singer. I believe it originated in Korea. It's another singing show where participants will wear a mask, right? And these are usually people that you wouldn't consider to be like singers, but they end up being really good singers. So I've seen clips of other Korean rappers like Simon Dominic, Bobby of Icon. I think Kang Seung-yoon was there. I think he won it at one point. I don't know how you win Masked Singer, but if people could clarify that would be great. And he was on the show as well. But yeah, the whole purpose is to guess who's behind the mask, and it's usually someone unexpected, or it could be, I guess, someone famous like Kang Seung-yoon of Winner. And I kind of thought to that because he did appear on the show. He did have a pretty good singing voice, and I wonder, what I was saying, right? I wonder if he wears the mask in this video to try to adhere to something more popular, or to hide like his sadness, which would be a pretty common interpretation because there are a lot of like videos and images out there of like, oh, when you wear a mask you don't show your true self and stuff like that. So that could also be a possibility. So in general, I think his other music videos are just fantastic. Like his other one, it's called Job. I think he's holding a goat at one point, which is fun. We love that for him. And I think his music is just so compelling, and I'm so excited to see what he does next. So as a casual fan and as a huge fan of Show Me the Money, I think that he's seen massive growth as an artist, like not only through objective success, but also finding out where his niche is. So again, if you watch Show Me the Money, watch season 6. It's great. I started watching during season 4 because I knew who won during seasons 1 and 3, or 1, 2, and 3, because when I looked at the show, I just found out all these things. So I didn't want to watch those seasons because I was like, I already know who wins. I'm that kind of person who just hates spoilers. I can't do that. Except every year, some aspect of Show Me the Money has been spoiled for me because I'm going on a tangent. But real quick, like, it's subbed in English, but it usually takes a few days or a week for the subbing team to get it, to translate it from Korean to English. So usually sometimes I find out things because I follow some of the rappers that participate or some of the judges that are in the show, and I find out like who advanced to the next round or who even won the show. I think the winner was spoiled to me like, I think, what was it? 3 years in a row. For seasons 7 and 8, the winner was spoiled for me. And that really annoyed me. So that's my hot take real quick on that. And yeah, by the way, this is going to be a very informal structure. I'm literally just going to be talking about each video. Unlike the other podcast episodes that I've had where I've had a little bit more structure, I'm really trying to be kind of spontaneous because this is really just something that I'm passionate about. Just analyzing music videos, taking screenshots of music videos. It's great. Also follow my music video screenshot account where I like get the colors from the music videos and I kind of make cool posts about them. That will be linked in the description below and will be here on the screen. So the next video we're going to be talking about is Netat by BLOO and Nafla. This video, dude, I don't know, they didn't have to go so hard for this. It's a really catchy song. It's very reminiscent of like 90s hip-hop, which I really, really appreciate. So with a funky beat and a melodic piano progression, Netat seems to be a parodic, I don't know. It's sort of a parody on the Korean/Japanese bully, which if you've seen animes, there's like definitely a trope there. And they explained in an interview, I think I'll also link that down below if you guys want to see that they grew up in the States. They're both from California, but they never had the experience of going to school in Korea. So the video is kind of trying to relive that experience or trying to recreate that experience. And the song is interesting. It was a really unique take on flex culture, which like I've never seen before, so it's really cool. And I think that the way that they sort of put themselves into this video, acting like a typical Korean trope bully and a Japanese trope bully, really makes their personas seem a lot larger than life, because they're already pretty famous. You know, they're rappers, they're big name rappers in Korea. Nafla was on season 7, Show Me the Money, and it sort of helps that like Nafla's hair is literally bright red in the context of this video, which I'm going to explain momentarily. So the whole song basically just centers around the idea that, you know, their fame and popularity is their fault, which is so interesting because I feel like a lot of, certain songs say like, oh, I'm famous because of my fans or because I'm rich and successful or because I started from the bottom and stuff. But saying it's your fault that you're famous kind of implies that you accept certain consequences. And in a weird way, it sort of holds them accountable for their own fame and serves as a testament to, I guess, like colloquially being born different, right? That they just have a natural charisma is what they're saying, right? And people are drawn to them. And, you know, like if you, destroy your life listening to their song is on loop, it's their fault. They're responsible for their own actions. So do it that way you will. I really can't interpret it any further than that because I'm still genuinely sort of trying to process that even as I speak right now. So the whole song, or the whole music video rather, consists of shots of both BLOO and nafla facing away or opposite from rows of black-haired uniformed students. So it's pretty much like a typical, school setting, but it's sort of set up in this really weird dystopian way, where, like to the beat of the song, everyone is nodding their heads at the same time. Everyone is looking down and not at them. They have this like really big, they just have so much charisma, they just have so much otherness, from society, and I guess the conventional norms of society. So they also have strikingly different physical attributes. I mean, obviously because they're the main subjects of this video, so that would make sense. But Nafla's bright red hair in this like setting just gives me, anime main character energy. Like every time I watch an anime and like I'm trying to figure out who the main character is, I just look for whoever has the weirdest hair. Because in a manga, right, in a comic, you can't tell what hair color these characters have. So I guess they just kind of go crazy and give them like blue and green hair or whatever. And then their parents have like normal hair colors. It's so weird. But yeah, while he has bright red hair, BLOO has piercings. His hair is kind of spiky, and he's wearing his uniform differently. So right from the beginning, you know that they're different. And there's this really like interesting shot, and also where BLOO delivers like the best line of the song, which I may or may not try to clip in here for copyright purposes, but he's basically standing in an empty hallway with students running in either direction. There's like straight lines of students just running, and he's standing and the camera's kind of twisting and panning around. So yeah, the line in the song is, "Henny in my blood could do anything." That's like, it's so genius. It's so smart. It's like an okay wordplay, I guess, but while you're listening to the video, or the music in the video, when it pops up, it's like, wow, genius. So the audio now is going to sound a bit disconnected and unrelated, but I had to cut some of the audio out in the editing process. Basically, what I'm going to be talking about is how I interpreted the theme of isolation and separation from society in the song. Like their disconnect from their native culture, because that's just something that I definitely relate to. Like the times that I've been to the Philippines, I've felt that like, oh, I have certain views, or I have certain mannerisms, or I just do things differently that are not Filipino, or so I often feel that I'm inadequate in that sense, and that I have to, or that because I've been raised in a Western country, right, like I'm just a deviant in some way, and it makes me feel sort of isolated, right? And I also kind of thought, on the other hand, as I've kind of mentioned a little bit before, that it's a bit of a smart jab at collectivist culture, because I think the difficulties that like some Korean American artists feel, like that I've seen from interviews and things like that, is that sometimes it's hard to adhere to, I guess, the collectivist culture like that's common in Asia, because when you're raised in the States, or I guess when you're raised in a Western country perhaps, right, there is more value on individualism and, I don't know, not really manifest destiny, I'm trying to think of the word, but there's more emphasis on your individual success, and there are more individual opportunities, like here, right, like fewer people still live with their parents or have their parents live with them, right? So like there are a lot of examples that kind of create this really weird, like, you can kind of feel it, I guess, at least when I went to the Philippines, right? I felt like, it felt weird because, my family, they always hang out together, they're all super close, and, me being here, it's so hard to kind of connect to that sort of collectivism within family and within, I guess, culture, right? At the end of the day, I sort of forgot, like how short the song was. The song is not very long. And I also kind of forgot that there were even people in the background, because there's so much focus on those two and, what they, sort of represent in the song. Like, the song doesn't even seem that deep. Again, I'm probably overanalyzing these videos. They're probably not that deep. And before I kind of stop talking about this video, there's just one quick thing that I kind of want to mention. The video itself sort of seems like a way to show, right, that BLOO and nafla have overcome, I guess, the conventional means of success. This one is a little bit of a stretch, but I did kind of think that the whole song about fame being their fault, and the consequences they face kind of alludes to the fact that they've been able to create a career for themselves that is outside of like conventional means. So they, obviously are musicians, which is a very unconventional career, like societally and whatever. And they've overcome that, and the criticism they receive and whatever, that's just a consequence of being who they are. Sort of a jab to the haters, kind of gives off like this energy that, just drop out of school, like go pursue your dreams. But not so much in a flippant way, but because, I'm passionate about this, I'm good at this, and I'm going to own this. That's why I'm successful. So I kind of liked that. I'm not a musician, but it makes me think that I can achieve the things I want to as well. So it's a departure from their recent music, which, like, they have created music, and most recently that is kind of about introspection, loss, love, the difficulties of those things. So this song was pretty cool. I was like, dang, they're kind of going at it. The last video we're going to talk about is Twist the Plot. Before I continue any further, I just want to issue a quick trigger warning. This video does contain blood as well as blood transfusion. So if any of that makes you uncomfortable, please skip ahead or cover your screen, put your phone down, however you need to kind of avoid it if you need to. By far out of the three, this one is the most compelling, and I believe it's the shortest. So it's from an EP by DJ Wegun and Jay Park that was recorded over, I think there was an interview where they talked to Eric Nam about this on K-Pop Daebak. I will also link that because it's kind of cool context. They recorded it on the road during, I believe, Jay Park's Sexy Forever tour? I could be wrong, but they recorded it at that time. It's sort of an amalgamation of all these hidden songs, so I feel like this one is the most interesting to me just for that reason. And it's simple, right? Like, the title is Twist the Plot. It's about defying expectations, being outside of the norm. For quick context, though, I decided to talk about this song because I remembered an interview or a video I saw about, Jay Park was in it, and it was about conventional beauty standards in Asia, and they focused, I believe, on South Korea. I think it was a video by Vox or something, and in the video they Jay Park talked about his tattoos and his appearance and how it's different over there. And again, with Show Me the Money, I'm back with that. 1/3 of this podcast is just me talking about Show Me the Money. And in Show Me the Money and other related TV shows, whenever people have tattoos, they always blur them out, or they wear gauze or tape over them. So even though a lot of people have it, right, and even with the popularity of hip hop through Show Me the Money and things like that, it's still I don't think it's taboo to get tattoos, but having tattoos is not, you can't be as open with it on TV and I guess and stuff like that. So the whole video is just a really great representation of pretty much being unconventional and being different. Twist the plot being society. So the music video was also just insane. It came out around Halloween, which was the perfect time to watch it. I think I watched it a week after, but I could still feel the energy of Halloween. So the basic plot of the video is pretty simple. If you do watch it though, I do want to issue I guess a quick trigger warning before you do watch this video. There is blood. There's kind of a lot, I guess. It's, at one point there were some flashing lights too, so I do advise you, if you do watch the video, to be careful. But at the very beginning, Kim Ximya, one of the rappers, he's like kidnapped and put into a car. They drive and they end up in this like lab setting. So in the lab setting, he and Jay Park are linked by this like blood tube thing, and Kim Simya's blood is like flowing out and into Jay Park. And eventually Jay Park wakes up and he's like covered in blood, I guess. I don't know if it's implied that he murdered the other guy, but whatever. And he suddenly like, they kind of pan to this other shot of like him in the arms of this really, really buff lady. And I don't know, she looks great. She's just super ripped, and I admire that for her. We love that. And I think towards the end of the video, Jay Park is like covered in blood and the video ends. So it's a wild video, even though I think the song itself is like under 2.5 minutes, which is wild. But I kind of thought it was interesting though, that they included like a woman who doesn't necessarily fit, again, like conventional like body image, or the figure of like a slimmer, conventionally attractive woman. Like she was still an attractive woman, but she was like ripped as hell. And I really thought it was cool because they kind of gave her this like religious imagery. Like she was wearing this sort of crown halo thing, and Jay Park was there covered in blood. It was just the weirdest. I was like, is there like religious imagery here? And I decided not to tackle that because it was too like obscure for me to understand at that point. And one of the other things was clearly the modification of the body, right? Kim Ximya, I couldn't really tell what he looked like because they kind of covered him in like hospital stuff when they switched to the lab scene, but he seemed like someone who was kind of skinny. I don't really know what he looked like, but sort of that switch to becoming Jay Park, I believe, was a little bit more buff and has a lot of tattoos. So sort of like this interesting juxtaposition between someone who's like conventionally attractive but also has like body modifications through tattoos, right? So I don't know what that says about anything. that was just really cool, that like transition. And I kind of thought about, you know, in general, right? Like, why do we care so much about certain body standards? Why do we have to adhere to that? What makes us obligated to follow those things? And I realized too that it's like really difficult to break out of these like conventional physical, I guess, characteristics. Like even for me, I have a lot of trouble with that. The Twist the Plot was kind of an encouraging song. Like the video was kind of scary, but the song itself was very much like encouraging you to like go on your own path and figure out who you are on your own, while sort of combating societal norms. I really don't have much to say on the video. The imagery itself, the holiness of it was just, I don't know, the juxtaposition, I'm just going to go off script real quick. Like the juxtaposition between the glowing buff lady and the insane amount of blood. Like, I don't know. I don't know if the blood kind of represents like you killing your past self. I don't know, or trying to bury the person you were before you transform. Like perhaps, you know, if you're trying to change your physical appearance in order to be someone else or whatever, I don't really know. Or if the really buff lady is sort of just like, you know, representing like the sanctity of your body. Because obviously this woman is a bodybuilder, I'm pretty sure. And with that, you really need to treat your body well. You need to like go on a certain diet. You need to do certain types of exercise. I'm sorry, my glasses are probably very distracting, but they are very loose. Like if it has to do with that, I don't know, like, or if making your body different will make you happy, or killing your past self will help you twist the plot or defy conventional, I don't know, it's crazy. You should see the video, if anything, if you are not averse to blood and whatnot. That was my quick sort of rundown on these music videos. There are probably more that I'll do in the future. Maybe this will be a future series here on the podcast. And please go listen to the songs. I think they're really great. Also stream them, because artists don't get a lot of money from streaming, but it really does help to stream their songs. Again, they are Used To by Wonjae, Netat by BLOO and Nafla, and that's BLOO spelled BLOO. and Twist the Plot by Jay Park, Kim Ximya, and DJ Wegun. So go watch them if you can. It might help you understand the podcast a little bit more. And it's not a movie, so you don't have to commit to that much watching. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. It's been a really long time. I'm filming this because this is like the one pocket of free time that I have. I'm home alone, so I can just kind of talk about whatever comfortably without worrying about someone listening to me. I'm probably going to be as consistent as I can. I'm approaching my final season, which will be done like mid-April, so if there's another episode after this, it might take a little bit longer, but it definitely won't take 4 months. So please, 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 don't worry about that. And thank you anyway if you're listening to this. I really, really appreciate it. So next week, we will be discussing the absolute political insanity, I don't know why I wrote that here, of a V for Vendetta, which is a wonderful dystopian thriller mystery. I love movies like this from the 2000s. I mean, The Matrix, Minority Report, Inception, like fantastic. Where we don't have sci-fi dystopian thrillers like that anymore. And it challenges the restrictions and censorship the government places on society. So tune into that next week or whenever it's going to happen, and I will see you soon. So this has been Movie-ish Podcast. Go follow me on Instagram at Movie-ish Podcast and check out the website movieishpodcast.card.co. There are links to where you can stream the podcast, and I will be updating the episodes. Like, I will put the newest episode from YouTube in there if you would like. And I will be seeing you soon, whenever that will be, but it won't be 4 months. Bye!